I'll call a special work session to order. The first item on the agenda is the introduction to first public hearing on ordinance number 1796, an ordinance to amend the operating budget of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1, 2013 through June 30, 2014. Ms. Saylor, you're presenting?
Yes, sir. As we discussed at the work session on Wednesday, this is the third amendment to the FY14 general operating budget. At the time, we discussed a reduction in the permit fees in exchange for the offset of some red light camera tickets and revenue, as well as some miscellaneous refunds on the insurance premiums. At this time, the what you had seen has been changed to also include the use of our unassigned fund balance, a portion of that, of $1,138,300 in order to pay off one of our loans in May, as well as the to appropriate the remaining balance from the sale of 350 Municipal Square to transfer to the capital improvement program. So, that said, the overall increase to the budget is $2,429,225.
Thank you. Council, any comments, questions? Councilman Les?
I'm fine with this. Just, Michelle, what's the interest rate on the one we're going to pay off? Approximately.
Approximately, it's in the 3 to 4% range.
Okay, and the new bond issues are going for approximately?
2 to 3%.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicholas?
No, I don't have any questions.
Councilwoman McCrary?
I'm fine with this.
Okay, so we're ready to move on this tonight with tonight's agenda. Thank you. Agenda item 2 is the introduction of first public hearing on ordinance number 1797, an ordinance to amend certain project budgets in the FY 2014 through FY 2019 capital improvement program. Ms. Saylor, this is also yours?
Yes, sir. Again, at the work session on March 5th, we've discussed the recognition of the state grant for the Laurel Bikeway, as well as city funds for a $50,000 budget. This has been changed to also include the project for the Laurel Municipal Center for renovations for customer service enhancements, as well as communication enhancements in the council chambers. Additionally, there is the information technology project to include the security system, direct monitoring by the Laurel Police Department. It will bring the system here and at the community centers in line with the systems that were installed at the police department and the Parks and Recreation maintenance facility when those buildings were renovated.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor. Council, any comments or questions? Councilwoman McCrary?
No, I had an opportunity to have my questions answered.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicholas?
No question.
Councilman Les?
I'm fine with this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor. Mayor?
Done, if I could bring up one other item.
Okay, all right. So we'll be ready to move forward with this at our 7 o'clock meeting.
Michelle, before you leave, I didn't bring my iPad, so I don't have my email. Somebody want to just let the council know we're busted on our snow account, and we're about holes here, too.
About $45,000.
We got some numbers today.
How many?
Going to be, when all the bills still need to be paid, so we're probably close to maybe 100.
Actually, to her credit, Ms. Blair has been keeping manual track, but
Can you, pull that just a little bit closer.
I'm sorry. To her credit, Ms. Blair has been keeping manual track
Right.
during the snowstorms, so I believe that is the expenditure.
Yeah, she sent it out today, and it was showing 70, but she corrected it, and it was 78,000, like Paul said. And I thought there were still some kind of outstanding bills. Do we have everything in? Do you know, Paul?
That's everything that we know
So let's just say there's probably about 80,000, and I just want to let you all know, and we'll be looking for some money, hopefully Wednesday. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything, but we'll make sure the streets are clear and salted if need be, and, but I wanted to let you know I got an email later this afternoon showing about 78,000 in the hole.
Mayor, since you brought this up, let me ask Paul just a question. During this winter season, Paul, how many times, if at all, has your department had to go out and actually procure more salt for the dome?
We typically we'll start out the season with the salt dome full. The last snow event was snow event number 12. We typically, because of the size of the salt dome, we're only able to accommodate enough salt that would last maybe 2 days if we have to salt continuously. We have, out of 12 events, we've start ordering new salt usually before the event's over. And we've had very good service with the contractor we have, that they start delivering within a day and even within the time of the snowstorm.
Okay. Thank you.
Christie, you got anything to add to any of this? Just want you and Michelle to work together. I think we've talked about this briefly. I don't want us to wait. I'd rather find the money and at least earmark it so we can keep it balanced.
Yeah, I believe we were looking to do something in April,
Okay.
hoping that this was the end of it, but.
Okay, I just wanted to make council aware unless you all have any questions. That was it.
All right. Council, any comments or questions? Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, Mr. McCullough. There being no other items on our agenda for the work session, we will adjourn the work session and we'll reconvene at 7 o'clock for our regular meeting. Thank you.
Justice, strength, and wisdom as they perform their duties on behalf of all our people. We commend this city, this county, this state, and this nation thy merciful care, to be guided by thy divine providence, we may dwell secure in thy peace. We especially commend your gracious care in keeping all men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad, our law enforcement community and crime rescue. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace, strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the trials and set them, and grant unto each the sense of your body present wherever they may be. Remember those upon a devil, let your come those in the hear our prayer in the name of the wonderful Lord life.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Crary?
Here.
Mr. Laz?
Here?
Ms. Nicholas?
Here.
President Smalls?
Here.
Mayor Mel?
Here.
I'll add that tonight we're getting our legal guidance and wisdom from Karen Ruff. Welcome, Karen. Agenda item 5 is approval of the minutes of the 6th meeting of the February 24th meeting. Council, if you've had a chance to review the minutes, if there are no corrections or modifications, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Les.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Laz?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. For agenda item 6, we will hold that until our next meeting. We'll have those closed session minutes available at that time. We'll move to agenda item 7, report of the mayor and city council, and tonight we'll start with Councilwoman Nicholas.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. Councilwoman Crary.
Thank you, Mr. President. On March 1st, I attended the side-by-side auction. Congratulations to Councilmember Nicholas and the good job she did, along with the side-by-side staff. I also attended the drop-in with the council on March 4th. I testified in Annapolis on Saturday on behalf of the city for a couple of projects we've got going for funding for pedestrian and bike paths in the city, and also upgrades to the Armory so we can expand services, the Park and Rec Department. And we can't expand services until we expand restroom services and the basement in that facility. And congrats to the rescue squad. Several of us attended the volunteer awards banquet on Saturday night. And this Thursday night, there'll be a public hearing here in Chambers, I believe, on the new skate park in town, or the proposal of one. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCurry. Councilman Les.
Thank you, Mr. President. Saturday, March 1st, we had bagels with the council at the Laurel Armory. We had to split the council for that day with the side-by-side and the bagels. Next month, April 5th at 9 a.m., it will be held at the DePietro Recreation Center. I encourage folks to drop in as it's an opportunity to ask questions and get updates on what's happening in the city. And invariably, we have one of our police departments stop in, so they're standing there, and they'll be glad to answer any questions from any of the public. Sunday, March 2nd, we had the City Hall open house. Congratulations to all that made that a success. And yesterday, I had occasion to attend the National League Cities in Washington, D.C. Had committee meetings yesterday. There was a general session today, and it was very informative. More importantly, it's an opportunity for us to express our thoughts from the City of Laurel on transportation and other of the policy committees. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Les. I had the opportunity to represent the Mayor and City Council at the Living Hope Church of God and celebrating its 55 years of service, spiritual service to the community. I also had the opportunity to attend the Laurel Volunteer Rescue Squad's annual banquet and wish to extend congratulations to all of those members of the squad who received special recognition. That's my report, Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to offer condolences to Paul, as we called him, Spanky Johnson, a former dispatcher here in the city of Laurel who passed away from cancer. Reverend Litchfield will be doing the service, and I know that'll be Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Donaldson Funeral Home, correct? So our condolences to the family, and Paul was a very dedicated member here of the City of Laurel and the police department in particular for his many years of service. In fact, the communications offices down at the police department is in Paul's name. So Sunday at 3 o'clock. I want to thank the Civic Improvement Committee, and in particular the Department of Park and Recs for the open house. Great turnout, very good event. And Mike, I know you and your staff did excellent job, but kudos to Joanne in particular, who I think kind of led that. We appreciate that, and had a lot of nice remarks from people. I think this is probably one of the better events that we put on, where people can really engage each other, as well as many of the civic and nonprofit organizations around the city. So thank you. The Seed Home Ownership Preservation Workshop, that was canceled during the snowstorm that we had. While we're talking about the snow, we talked earlier, we hope for no more snow. We're looking for money now, roughly $78,000 to $80,000. We're in the hole right now. Public Works continues to do an outstanding job. If it happens to snow Thursday, which we're all going to do a sun dance. Why don't somebody do that? You all want to do a rain dance during my meetings, so do that. We will find the money in this year's budget to take care of that deficit. We will do that hopefully in April's meeting sometime, get some figures to the council. But Paul, please provide our gratitude to your staff for the hard work that they continue to do around the clock. It's not an easy job, and a lot of challenges out there, especially with the ice and the snow and all, so thank you. We did attend the Laurel Volunteer Rescue Squad's banquet for 62 years of service. I want to commend the squad and thank them for the invitation to be with them, and again, want to thank them for all their service as well. You heard Councilmember Crary talk about the skate park. There is a public hearing for that. We encourage the community to be involved. We're talking about planning over at the Centennial Park over off of Montrose Avenue, and we want to engage the community and get feedback. Mike, 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock for the meeting. National League of Cities, as you heard, is taking place in Washington this week. Tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll have the opportunity to go down and visit with our Maryland delegation, our congressional delegation, and express things that we're looking for from the federal level, as well as possible grants and others that may be available that we can use here in the city of Laurel. Last week I did announce the replacement for the Director of Communications. Miss Audrey Barnes was announced. Audrey is almost a 30-year member of the news media. She is currently with Channel 5, Fox 5 in the district. She is 15 minutes away from the city of Laurel. She graduated from Laurel High School, went to school here, knows Laurel very well, and I was very happy that she accepted the position. And as I sent the nomination to the council, I've asked for them to take action on that on the 24th, and she will, with your concurrence, come aboard on the 26th, and I know she's looking forward to that, and I'm very happy to again make that announcement to you all. And that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We will now move to Agenda Item 8, the general public hearing. I'll open the general public hearing at 7:12. I have Mr. John Lofton signed up to speak. Mr. Lofton, if you'll come forward and give your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much. My name is...
I don't think the mic's on, John. Very top. There you go.
Good evening. My name is John Lofton. I'm on Gerald Road, 16111 Gerald Road. I am the director of the God and Government Project, which is an outreach mission of the Institute on the Constitution in Pasadena, Maryland. The purpose of the God and Government Project is to make public office holders aware of the fact that God has ordained government, and thus the first duty of all public office holders is to obey God and His law. If you are for godly government, which our founders certainly were and made that clear in their writings, someone inevitably accuses you of being for a theocracy. Not merely a theocracy, but a theocracy like they have in Iran or like the Taliban in Afghanistan. But all the word theocracy means is godly government. And for most of our history, godly rule meant that whatever form of government there is, those governing must rule according to God's law, the law of the God of the Bible. That's the history of our country. Therefore, throughout history, whenever the church or the state ruled the civil government according to church rules or state rules and not God's law, such man-made rule was not a theocracy, but, well, it was just a bunch of people making up rules. And for the most part, that's what we have today. Governments ruled only by the opinions and appetites of men and women. Today, for the most part, we have godless rule. And that has been a disaster for all levels of government, local, state, and national. True godly rule means that God and His law must guide civil governments, such as this council, and our state government and our national government. There must be limits to what government can do, and there are limits for God, from God, who ordained civil government. We will continue to ignore those limits at our peril. I respectfully request that you seriously consider what I say, and may God bless us all as we obey him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lofton. I have no one else signed up to speak during the general public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the general public hearing at 7:15. Agenda item 9 is a third public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1795, text amendment number 231, an ordinance to amend Chapter 20, Land Development and Subdivision, Article 1, Zoning, Division 7, Signs and Advertising Structures, and provide an effective date. I have read the title into the record for the third reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:16. I have no one signed up to speak. Mr. Brock.
Mr. President, text amendment application number 231 was filed on February the 3rd, 2014 by the Mayor and City Council of Laurel to amend Chapter 20 Land Development and Subdivisions, Article 1 Zoning, Division 7 Signs and Advertising Structures, and providing an effective date. On February the 10th, 2014, the proposed ordinance and cover letter requesting comments was sent to the Maryland Department of Planning. A response date, February 11th, 2014, was received stating that the department had no comment. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that this application and public hearing was advertised as required by law in the February 13th, 2014 edition of the Prince George's Sentinel. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and City Council dated February 14, 2014 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held on February the 11th, 2014, the following action was taken on the subject application. On motion by Mr. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Kish, and carried on a roll call vote of all members present, the Planning Commission recommended that the Mayor and City Council approve text amendment number application 231 as presented in their proposed ordinance. That concludes the reading of the file, Mr. President.
Mr. Brock, would you just, for the record, since our court reporter is here, give just your full name and title for the record, please?
Jack Brock, Acting Director, Community Planning and Business Services Department.
Okay, thank you. I have, as I stated before, no one signed to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 7:18. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Crary?
I recommend that we approve text amendment number 231 as read into the record. A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Laz?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mel?
Yeah, I'll concur.
Agenda item 10 is the introduction of first public hearing on ordinance number 1796, an ordinance to amend the operating budget of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for fiscal year July 1, 2013 through June 30, 2014. I read the title into the record for the first reading. This agenda item was discussed earlier this evening at our work session. And also, it was discussed on Wednesday, March 5th also. So I'll open a public hearing at 7:19. Ms. Saylor?
Mr. President, this is the third amendment to the FY 2014 operating budget. We're offsetting some permit revenues with revenues from red light cameras and other miscellaneous refunds and rebates, as well as to pay off one of our loans using the unassigned fund balance, and to appropriate the proceeds from the sale of 350 Municipal Square and transfer those funds to the capital improvement program, increasing the budget by $2,429,225.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor. Council, any Discussion? No. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:20. Now, what's the pleasure of the council? No, this is first
reading.
First reading. Someone want
You're
to take
more
my
than
seat?
You're more than welcome to vote on it if you want.
No,
to.
I don't think, I think we'll.
These are both that are due 24th.
The second public hearing
You
with.
must have,
Yeah.
I must not have had dinner or something yet.
That and other things. The second public hearing with possible action will be on Monday, March 24th, 2014, at 7:00 p.m. Got to interject just a little lightness to these meetings. Agenda item 11 is the introduction of first public hearing on ordinance number 1797, an ordinance to amend certain project budgets in the FY 2014 through FY 2019 capital improvement program. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. This also was discussed at our work session before this meeting and on Wednesday, March 5th. I will open a public hearing at 7:21. Ms. Saylor?
Mr. President, Ordinance 1797 provides funding for the Laurel Bikeway, the project at the Laurel Municipal Center, and the information technology project for the security systems in city facilities.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:22. Second public hearing with possible action will be held on Monday, March 24, 2014, at 7:00 p.m. If there's no other business to come before the mayor and city council, our meeting is adjourned.